So, well, thank you all for your patience as we settle in. So, as Zoltan said, this will be a panel discussion for leadership and coaching in iGaming, and specifically about empowering teams and driving innovation in our dynamic field. However, this was the original subject, but we would like to deviate a bit from the iGaming industry because I have a panel of experts with such diverse and beautiful backgrounds, and they can provide insights on several levels. So without further ado, I would like to allow each one of them to introduce themselves to you. So, Hanno, take it away.
Sure. My name is Hanno Ahonen, and I come from Estonia. I live in Tallinn. I've actually been part of Hipster now for a year. We were just talking with Maria.
Yes, another Hipster.
We're like the traveling stooges. This is our fourth event talking about people subjects and human-centric subjects, so I really, really appreciate it. That's also what I do in my daily life. I have my business partner Katri usually here, but this time she couldn't make it. But yeah, our agency, Copy Agency, is dealing with leadership development and creating these leadership competency models so that you can make better business decisions.
Perfect. Alexandra, I think many people know you already, but please do.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Alexandra Varnetskaya. I'm Chief Marketing Officer at Evenbet Gaming. Evenbet Gaming is a B2B poker provider with more than 20 years of expertise in iGaming, actually. And my career journey spanned multiple industries. I have experience in cars, premium spirits, real estate, and IT outsourcing company before I stepped in iGaming, where I am responsible for strategic development, brand positioning, and product innovation. And actually, the teams where I was a team leader, I can say, they went through different crisis situation in different markets, and I believe that it's a great source of growth for every team and for every company through digital transformation and many different stages of life cycle. But I believe that the main idea for every team is actually do everything possible to create mentorship programs, leadership programs, and really manage the high-performing teams. So this is the key for me.
Thank you. Philip?
My name is Philip. I'm leading the incubations department at GreenTube, and also I'm a founder of several ventures already. So yeah, I've seen it all, from small companies, from startups to bigger companies and really big companies, building up teams there, leading teams there, building products and so on. Yeah, happy to share my experience from that.
Thank you. And Wojciech?
My name is Wojciech Czaska. I'm the Chief Communications Officer at SB Software, where I transform the brand narratives and the reputation of the company into the solid business assets. We are the software provider, platform provider. Internationally, we have our own sportsbook, PAM, casino platform, and several different modules, where 5 of 13 solid sportsbook operators on Polish market are based on our platform. I have over 16 years of the industry experience, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Alon, please introduce yourself.
Can I ask my panelists, is anyone a lawyer on the stage?
Unfortunately not. I'm sorry.
That's great news. So I am the best lawyer on the stage.
Definitely you are.
Yeah, which is very good news. I am the managing partner of a law firm called Segev LLP. We are a law firm with offices in Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and in St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. I've been managing partner of the firm for 10 years. I founded the firm with my brother. We were a team of 4 when we first started. Now we're a team of 60. So I'm definitely curious and interested on building teams and the human experience and building business by attracting the right talent and developing them.
Amazing. Thank you all very much. And for anyone who doesn't really know me, in my previous position in my career, I also had the role of people communications manager and head of HR and people communications, because I was the only person, I was in marketing, who knew from about communications and what that needed. So I was called to nurture this kind of environment in a startup scaling up. So this is how I landed in this kind of conversations. Okay, so having introduced ourselves, I think that you agree our panelists can provide insights both as leaders from their experience now and their positions, but also from the inside of a team. And we also have some professionals in terms of coaching them itself. So let's start, because leadership has been such a hype word lately. If we had to define it in one sentence, each one of you, can you please share how would you define leadership, and perhaps especially in iGaming, if you can, in one sentence?
Sure, because this is one sentence and that's super hard for me sometimes, so I'm just going to read it, but I have a disclaimer after that, okay? So my definition: in business, leadership is about focus in the face of complexity, while in iGaming, it's about balancing disruption, regulation, and constant reinvention. And my disclaimer over here as well, that I come from outside of the iGaming world. We have clients, iGaming clients, but I come outside. And what I wanted to say is, when you're defining leadership, then I think a good idea is to define it based on your own organization, not necessarily your industry. Yes, there's intricacies, there's different bells and whistles, but really define it for your own organization, and that's the best definition, because that goes in unison with your business strategy.
Great. We will delve into this, but let's hear what our fellow panelists have to say.
Yeah. So I think that leadership, and specifically leadership in iGaming, is about creating the atmosphere of trust, the atmosphere of creativity, the atmosphere of inspiration, because this is the fact when your team can really provide outstanding results. They feel secure to share their opinions, they feel safe that they can share their initiative, and they can be proactive. And this is what we need in iGaming, because this is the world of the people with the same mindset. In case you have the different mindset, you will never be working in iGaming. And this is the key insight I took after the yesterday's panel, where Wojciech, you also took part, because it seems to me the key idea. That's why leaders everywhere.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there are a million different definitions of leadership. I think it depends more on which style you decide for yourself and for your team. And for myself, I decided for servant leadership, which means you're not in the focus as a leader. Your responsibility is that your team can thrive, that you really build the environment that everyone can give his or her best and deliver the best results. And this is for me leadership. You know, you really create this productive, innovative, inspiring environment. You give purpose to the people so that they are motivated, they know for what they are working for, and have a common goal all together, the entire team. And with this, I have to say I was able to get the best results out of my team.
Perfect. Wojciech?
For me, the true leadership is then when you find the answer to the question, are you smart enough to hire smarter people than you? Firstly, and secondly, if you are smart enough to do this, to create the environment to the people that they stay creative and be creative, to develop and to lead them by example, and at the end, when the whole group, the whole team, the whole company is achieving a success, I am the person, and this is my way of leadership, I am the person who is sitting in the last row of the hall, and my team is in front of me. And this is the way I'm doing it.
Thank you. So cultivating the environment, it's in agreement with what Philip pretty much said as well. And Aldon?
I would say it's really multifaceted. So on a high level, it's engaging talent, developing talent, and then focusing on retention. It's also understanding yourself and the organization. If you don't know yourself, you can't hire correctly. And I've learned that from sitting on the other side of the table where organizations hired me, and after being there for 12 months, I'd look around and I'd say, what the hell am I doing here? And it was a question of me not knowing myself, also starting off young in a career, and come to the realization that these organizations didn't know themselves, because if they knew themselves, they'd never hire a guy like me.
I think we've all been through this, through what Alan describes. I don't know if you have anything
The matter
to add.
of onboarding, the proper onboarding, it doesn't work in many companies.
Right.
Or it doesn't exist.
Or it doesn't exist, exactly. So,
Honestly.
despite the fact of offboarding, it's even worse.
Oh, don't. Okay, you will get the
Yeah, the
exit
huge
interview.
topic.
You will get the exit interview paper where you're either going to lie or just,
And then there's some companies that rely on
it's
waterboarding.
good when you get one, yes.
On waterboarding, exactly.
Okay, so according to what you described in terms of what leadership is like, and according to your experience, what are the biggest challenges? We're going to review this, and the first challenge is, for me, we are talking about leadership, and we have mostly seen it on the organizational chart. We have seen C-levels, it's a matter of hierarchy, and all this, and so on and so forth. But when did you personally, each one of you, realized that there is a specific role and a specific different demand of this leadership role that goes way deeper than just a job title? What was that key moment in your career that each of you realized that?
Yeah?
Whoever wants to start.
Okay, for me, one of the moments, of course, because there were plenty of them, but one of them was the art of the feedback, of giving feedback. When you are giving the feedback to your team and you see that it's not landing on the proper way. So for me, it was the moment, okay, I have to change something on that. And then I revamped it completely and started from the other way, giving the feedback, motivating, and so on, the whole procedure, starting with the good things and this and that. Then I saw how the team, how the people changed completely and started actually to follow, not just realize the tasks and mark the checkbox by the tasks done, but they were encouraged to come with the problem, but then with the solution already as well, because they knew they will get a proper feedback from my side that motivates them further. So this was for me the moment, okay, change the way you are giving feedback.
Okay, so I guess that's when you realize that you are the one who has to sit at the back of the room to inspire your team that are forward also. That
yes, for me, you know, when you are in the role of the leader, of course, you have to inspire the people that they follow you. And the next point is, of course, the people are following you not because of what you are doing, but why you are doing it. And then when I was able and have learned it in my process to explain my why and what is my true why, they started then to follow because they could identify with my why.
So you realized it pretty early. Okay.
Yes.
Who wants to go next?
May I have a case that is connected with my experience in real estate business. When COVID happened, I had a call from my boss, the founder and the CEO of the company, and she said that we need to reduce our costs immediately to 50%. And I had a choice whether to fire people in my team or whether to make them believe that for an uncertain period of time they will have to work for half of their salary. And me too, of course. I had more than 20 subordinates in this period of time, so I'm talking now and I'm having still these goosebumps. And I had more than 20 these one-to-ones where we were discussing what we will do next. And it was a great surprise for me. 100% of my team stayed with me. And the next 2 weeks, we actually invented a way how to keep sales going. So we launched the online sales process in real estate. We were the first in the market where I was working. And that's why now I believe that every crisis is a source of growth. So I actually gave, now I understand that I managed to give to my team hope that everything will be okay. And together, for the next 14 days, we invented something new, and that helped the company, the team, everyone. And in 1 month, we managed to bring all the salaries back. So it was a victory.
This is amazing, but I think that it's also a matter, you have already earned the people's trust because they were on board with you when you suggested this very difficult choice.
Yeah, but you know, like it was, you were on the same page with them. Mm-hmm. They knew that this cost reduction was not only for them, it was for me also.
So transparency and honesty.
Yes, it was transparency, honesty, trust. We were together, we were in contact, I don't know, maybe 24 hours a day.
And this led practically, we said, to innovation through this initiative that you
this
took.
is a source of growth. Yeah.
Perfect, amazing.
Yeah, if I may, then for me it was, I learned it by doing, to be honest, the whole leadership part, because I came from my third job after studies and founded my first company. And until then, I just saw bad examples of leadership, I have to say, with weak onboarding, weak offboarding, and so on. So this was my first learning, how not to do it. And then when I found it...
This is the best lesson, mostly, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you have also a misleading perspective, because from the other side, everything is wrong, and you do not understand the reasons and so on. But then when I founded the company and we started 3 people, of course we were all C-level because we were the only ones. CEO,
founders,
CTO,
the
co-founders, yeah, and you name yourself C-levels and suddenly you're a leader of yourself. But then we grew because we were quite successful, and it started to get 5 people, 8 people. We still were sitting on one table together. Everything worked fine. Everybody knew what the other one is doing because we were sitting on one table. Then we became 10, 15 people, suddenly 2 rooms. We were not knowing what the others doing the entire day anymore. And this was the point in time where I saw, why the hell are we double as much people, but our output is not doubled? And the reason was because we had no leadership. Because the information flow, the processes, the common goal, vision, mission, you know it, nothing was defined. And we all worked. We worked really hard. We did 100 hours a week and so on. But the output was really low. And this was my, I would say, aha moment where I saw, okay, without proper leadership, without someone who gives direction, who gives the mission, the vision, and a common goal, it will not work.
Okay.
Good point, Philip. You bring it out over here that I also wrote something down, that no strategy always outperforms weak culture. And for me specifically, because I come from the side of, I did my MBA in organizational leadership, and then I was part of teams, I was growing teams, and now I'm an expert of giving advice to companies how to do leadership development. I think for me the key point was the understanding that business equals people, pronto, period. That was eye-opening for me. And I also tried to wear away, and I tell to organizations as well, leadership development or leadership as such thing shouldn't be some sort of an HR function. It should be a business strategy. It's completely on a different side. I think, yeah, so these have been, I guess, kind of eye-opening for me.
Yeah, I want to build on Hanno's point. I run a company. We're a services business. We provide legal advice. And our product is essentially our people. Any successful organization is composed of 4 things. Most companies do 3 things. They've got technology, people, processes, and the 4th is experience. And it's having that consistent experience when you're dealing with a specific company. And in our case, I call them touch points. So whether a client is dealing with our client services, when they pick up the phone and they call, or they physically come into one of our offices, or they're dealing with our paralegals, legal assistants, anyone in the organization, they have the same cultural touch point. And that consistency is developed from culture, and that culture is developed by the leadership, right? So to your point, Hanno, I mean, we're selling products, and the product really does reflect culture, and culture is built by leadership.
Yeah, what actually a good point that you're bringing out, that's something that I always keep in my head as well, that the client or the consumer, I mean, it's the same coin, right? The culture, just the other side of the coin. Because whatever we do internally, and we've had that conversation before as well, that we're constantly looking outside, but we're also servicing inside our organization, and having clarity in there, you can have a better output and impact for the world as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's also a major differentiator for us. One of the feedback points I get from our clients is, wow, it's cool that you guys are lawyers. You're actually normal. Right? Which is the best one. Which is, it's strange, but this is actually stuff I hear. Like, oh, you're normal for lawyers. Thank you.
Too normal for lawyers.
Right. Because that's sort of the culture we're trying to develop in our organization, that we are no different than our clients, right? They've got legal needs. You know, I go see accountants and doctors and, you know, an architect if I need to build a house, right? We're service providers at the end of the day. We're no worse, no better. And the hierarchy in the organization is very flat. And that promotes a sense of ownership. A lot of our lawyers act like business owners, so they actually care. Actually, one of our mottos on our sweatshirts, we have the company logo, and on the arm it says, we celebrate client wins and we give a damn, right? And in plain English, we do give a damn. I mean, that's what it is. We really do celebrate our client wins. But that comes from leadership and developing that culture.
So you realize this need very early and across the whole spectrum of your services and your company. And since we discussed this, are these moments that you described would you say the biggest challenge you have faced in your careers in terms of leadership, or in your case, in terms of your clients? Or is there a biggest challenge, a bigger challenge that you have faced? And if so, how were you able to overcome it in terms of leadership?
Yeah, maybe. A similar story to what you said before. I think the really tough points in a career as leader is when things are not going well. If everything that you build up, maybe even for years, falls apart, then you really need to show character. And if you, as the leader of the team, if you fell apart, then the team falls apart, right? And I can again describe it from startup perspective. You have a roller coaster every day. One day you think you can be a millionaire tomorrow. Next day you think you're broke in a few hours. This can happen. You get resilient after some time. But I think this builds your character. And for me, it was like that. We built up this startup. We made a few million euros in revenue. But then COVID came and everything. We needed to use the money for our team. We did not want to fire. This was also a learning. I mean, you need to keep your organization healthy no matter what, even if this means that you need to let go people. And then from a millionaire to zero again within a few months. This is quite hard, and I think a lot of people here also had similar stories. And this is where you build your character also as a leader. And next time when something happens like that, you are the one who keeps calm. You are the one who can keep your team calm, which is very important. Give them a little bit of security, safety in this tough situation, and also guide a way out of the situation somehow. Like build a picture, create a picture how it could be in a few months if we do the right things. And then suddenly you create a team which again works into one direction, even through these tough times.
So for you, the answer was resilience and stepping up as a leader. So that's like the short.
Absolutely, this comes automatically, but you need to go into these tough situations. You should not be afraid of them because you will grow from it. And do not run away, go through it, try to solve the problems, and then you will be a better leader in the end.
For me, it was the situation when I was a CEO of a company, and when I stepped into the role and presented to the whole team the vision, the next steps, where we are going, and what are the goals. And then at the very beginning, the whole team is very enthusiastic and sharing my vision. And fine, now we will go there, and super. And after a few months, you see that even if my goals and the vision didn't change at all, the team is not following anymore. And for me, it was the recognition, okay, am I bad? Am I got worse in the leadership? What is going on? What is wrong?
Self-reflection.
Yes, of course. And then I recognized, okay, fine. The vision and the goals, they were motivating for some kind of people. The inside steered, let's say, and the outside steered. They needed it from me. The inside steered, it was enough to tell them once, and they just followed because they knew. Then they found out themselves and positioned in the whole structure on the journey, and the others just gave up. And for me, it was the moment where I've learned, and it was tough, to let them go. In the sense, okay, have I failed already? You know, because they don't want to follow me, or just this is the part of the game. Learn it, let them go, and you will win the others. That they will be able to follow the story. And this was one of the experiences that changed also my perspective very quickly.
Yeah, I agree with that. It resonates with me. I think it takes a lot of discipline to stop celebrating mediocrity. And one thing that I constantly repeat to the partners of the firm is 80% of our resources should be spent on the top 20%. Because I only have so many hours in the day for coaching and developing, and it requires a lot of emotional energy. It's exhausting. So I constantly remind myself, 80% on the top 20. And it's really easy to develop a culture where everybody's exchanging high fives and slapping each other on the back for nothing. And it takes discipline to stop celebrating mediocrity. And when you are disciplined in that fashion, you're going to start attracting real talent. And I noticed that in my organization. We started developing a reputation for providing really high-end work. And I could tell anecdotally in the beginning that we were starting to get applications from law students coming out of the top law schools in Canada and the US with the highest grades. And that was sort of the early signs of, oh, wait a second, we're developing a reputation of being a really specialized, high-value boutique. And it was from dedicating 80% to the top 20, stop celebrating mediocrity. And you're actually doing a favor to your staff because people want to do good work. And they want to achieve, and they want to feel fulfilled when they get those accomplishments. If you're hiring people that don't share that value set, well, you hired wrong. That was a wrong hire.
And it's like you don't share the same value set. So again, it's looking back at you, self-reflection, and growth vision. Yes.
I wanted to share, actually, before when I was preparing for the panel, the other example, but now when I'm listening to you, I want to share the different example, actually. That the biggest challenge for me, I don't know, like for you guys, maybe you are born leaders, C-levels, and so on and so forth, but the biggest challenge, actually, for me in leadership was when I recognized that I need help. And acceptance of this recognition was really a great challenge for me. This moment...
Have you fought with your ego in this moment? And then you realized, it's huge.
I will share with you my magic pill, actually. It exists. That's number one. Yeah. The situation was when... I finally gained the position of C-level in a very big company in real estate. I understood that now I should be dealing not with only, like 80% of operational issues and 20% of strategic issues, but 80% of strategic issues and 20% of super strategic issues. And this was the moment where I understood that, oh my God, these 20 subordinates, more than 20 subordinates, are not direct subordinates. I have to deal with it somehow. So it was about how to delegate, how to deal with control issues, how to really step up and see the big picture. Because I thought that I have the strategic vision, but when you actually face all the challenges, you understand that you lack the information, you lack the experience. What I did, I went for coaching. I have found a mentor. And I had a program for 2.5 months, and now I understand that it was the right choice. And sometimes to accept that you need help is a great challenge, especially when you are a leader, a C-level, and when you are responsible for a big team.
Definitely, it's never too late, right, for that? Never.
And there's probably no good leader out there who did not do a single coaching session.
Yes.
So totally right.
Do you want to go? I just have a small snippet over here after Alexandra, what you said. I mean, it's as a leader, I think one of the hardest parts is what's urgent and what's important, right? Urgent always wins, no matter what. Always. So one really good hack that I got from one of the leaders that actually was also selected as a leader. We have in Estonia selected a leader of the year out of all of the companies. And what he said that I'm utilizing, and it works golden, is that on the urgent stuff, you measure it with KPI. And for the important stuff, you measure it with OKR or 40X. So it's more visionary, more to the future. But they make time with the leadership team every week. 90 minutes is spent on the important stuff. Always, no matter what. So something that I wanted to mention that I utilize, and as I said, like it works like gold.
Thank you. These are actually actionable insights. I think everyone can benefit from that. And I just had to say that I totally understand this part of letting go of all the control and actually reconciliating with the fact that you need to give space to the new people. That's what I faced. I wasn't a CEO, but I had to make a marketing department from scratch. And I was, in a startup, I was used to, having all control, doing everything by myself. I had taken the hang of it and everything seemed easy, breezy, and I knew what I wanted. And when the new person came, a Gen Z person came, I was like, oh, come on, how can you not understand that and that you have to do this and that? But I had to get rid of this mentality and leave the space. So, but let's focus more on your expertise. And I have a question for Alexandra, especially about marketing. So let's dissect marketing in iGaming, leadership in marketing for iGaming specifically. So what are the everyday challenges of leading a gaming marketing department where you have to successfully balance compliance, successful promotional strategies, and internal corporate dynamics? So how do you deal with all this, and what are the challenges?
Actually, the biggest challenge for us in iGaming here is management of the remote team. We have a very dispersed team. We actually operate in more than 16 countries. Specifically, marketing team is in 5 countries, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, now 5 countries. Different time zones, different cultures, different mindsets, different experience, different background. Of course, we have some issues with communications and stuff, and this is a real challenge, because when you actually have the overlap in only 2 or 3 hours with your team, just to communicate and check what is going on, and when you are tracking the progress of the strategic projects and so on and so forth, this is really complicated. What do we actually do? We launched this blended format. So yeah, I understand that I have a remote team, but I managed to persuade the board to have these offline meetings with my team on a quarterly basis. And this helps us to synchronize, to actually understand where do we stand, to check whether we are still with the same values, because this is really important. And we have the system of KPIs and OKRs, and I believe that this is the system, both operational and strategic, that helps us to keep transparency and to understand actually where do we stand and the speed of our progress. And moreover, we have some ground rules. When you, for example, have in the online meeting, I know that is the basics, but still, the camera on, the sound on, and you are okay. You can be having a blazer only here, nothing, because nobody
pajamas.
sees it. Yeah, but at least turn on the camera. I should see your emotions, because we are speaking about marketing, and we have not only work calls online. We have also out of work calls, and they are scheduled on a weekly basis. On Fridays, we are having coffee together. For somebody, it's morning coffee. For somebody, it's super morning coffee. For someone, it's very late coffee. But we all attend, and we usually organize it in not a work messenger, just to, be completely...
To hang out.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, just to hang out, just to understand that this is okay. And when I joined the company, none of these traditions existed. Mm-hmm. We actually did it together, and I collected feedback. I created this story based on the feedback of my team, and I'm very grateful for them that they were eager to share. And I totally agree with you guys. Feedback is the foundation of everything. Yes. Really. You should ask for feedback. You should provide the feedback. This is how you deal with the challenge.
In the right way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, not just...
Exactly. But it's not so obvious.
We like to throw things at people.
Yeah.
Online. When the meeting is online. Perfect.
Okay, and that's actually, pretty much agrees with what Hanno said about the urgent and the important things and... all that. Okay, so Alon, when we had our introductory call for this panel, we had an online call, cameras on and all that good thing. You said that you were looking forward to joining this panel, although it's not strictly, in any way, it's not a compliance panel. What sparked this need of yours to be part of a leadership panel? And according to your experience and what you learned about leadership,
I also get choked up when I talk about this topic.
Okay.
So first of all, while she coughs, I'll fill in. Our online discussion was brilliant. I'm sorry that you all missed it. We were really incredible. And yeah, and that's it, folks. Have a good day. So what, to follow on your question.
What did you learn about from all this, from leadership, and how can iGaming leaders turn especially, yes, and I don't have my microphone, sorry. How can iGaming leaders turn especially the compliance challenges to drive forward for their leadership?
Yeah, I think we're so focused on KPIs, and especially we're focused on shareholder value and net incomes and KPIs and growth and growth and growth without focusing on some of the more emotional skills that you need to develop a company. And some of the stuff isn't really quantifiable. It's hard to quantify. So why was I excited to join this panel? Because I'm frankly tired of talking about gaming regulation and compliance and responsible gambling. So when I saw this an opportunity and there was an empty seat, I raised my hand. I said, "Oh, finally, I could talk about something else." To be perfectly frank, but this topic is really near and dear to my heart. I'm naturally interested in people. I actually did some coaching as well. I worked with an individual who was a VP at Starbucks for many years, so I was really lucky. A gentleman who lives in British Columbia. We did it online. I did 12 sessions, 1 hour for 12 months, and I got a ton of insight on different leadership skills, stuff that I do well and stuff that I don't do well. I really introduced a lot of the techniques into developing the firm, and I saw pretty immediate results, and it affects the bottom line ultimately. So little things like we're talking about delegation. One thing he shared with me is the stuff that you coach, that you can teach others to do, don't do, right? It's delegating, right? Mm-hmm. Do only the things that you only can do, right? And I thought, oh, that's so obvious. Like, what am I paying you for this? But I found myself really wanting to do everything because I got in the habit of not doing it. It actually takes a lot of work and discipline to delegate and to trust. A good example is our head senior paralegal. So she manages 6 people. She wasn't happy with one of our paralegals, and she said, "Oh, I'm going to fire him." And I said, "Really? He's really smart." "Well, he's on his phone the whole time. He twiddles his thumbs." And I go, "But he's really, really smart. When he works for me, his work's dynamite. No, I'm going to get rid of him." And then I paused. I said, "Wait, you got to give him a chance. You have to, you're a leader, but it's not just make sure that they get the work out. You got to develop talent. You've got to find the value in the person and bring it out. I mean, that's really what people are about. They all have value."
And that's part of the job of a leader as well.
Yeah, it is. But also part of the job of a leader is turning people into leaders, right? And that's the only way the organization is going to grow. So in terms of why I'm so passionate about this topic, because I think I'm naturally interested in people. I think good leaders are naturally interested in people. They're interested in what makes people tick, what drives people. I have the very unenviable job of leading lawyers. People ask me, what's it like being a lawyer? I said, it's great if it wasn't for the lawyers. And you'd be surprised. Everybody's driven by different things. And one of the things that I do is I coach my lawyers. And I say, so what drives you? And 8 out of 10, it's not money.
So how would you coach iGaming leaders when it comes to this kind of challenge of both boredom and, let's say, this sense of restriction that compliance inspires? How would you coach them?
Compliance, I actually don't think... I don't think compliance results in boredom or creates a...
No, I mean, some people may think, compliance...
Well, it's funny.
How can they turn it into an advantage?
First you have to hire the right people. So from the perspective of compliance, not everybody's built for compliance. I have to tell you, it's a snooze fest. I don't do that stuff. I'm just not built for it. But we have lawyers that live and breathe it, and we're able to identify really smart, technical lawyers that their minds thrive on it, right? They like sitting in a room and building puzzles, right? And then we have other lawyers that really thrive in an M&A environment. I'm more of a transactional lawyer. I love the deal. I love the deal terms. I love finding 2 people at opposite ends of a chasm and finding a way to bring them together. I love out-of-the-box thinking, right? So you've got to hire the right people. If I hire a public markets M&A-driven lawyer and I ask him or her to become a regulatory expert on gaming, it's a square peg in a round hole. So that takes time, identifying the right personality sets. It does. You know, last point on that, my accountant is the most boring guy you will ever talk to.
This is recorded, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah. Hello, Kenneth. I love you. But he's brilliant, and I knew that within the first 10 minutes of talking to him. Right? This number pusher is my guy. Right? Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes.
I love you, Kenneth.
Thank you for your patience with all the coughing. So to Wojciech, now to clear the communication part, also in that great intro call, you mentioned that you are actually trained in leadership coaching, right?
Yes.
But
I'm still using, I'm developing myself further, and I'm working with the coaches still as well.
So as a communication strategist and PR expert, how do you utilize this asset? And how is leadership relevant to a successful communication strategy in iGaming?
So definitely I'm utilizing it by asking the right questions. Because the whole communication starts with the questions. We are communicating from the second year of our life, but we are still cannot understand each other. And especially what you said, you inspired me with what you just said, Alan, that when I lead the people, I'm asking the questions, the really right questions. What is driving you? Why are you here? And diving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then the right motivation can be exposed. And when you have recognized, when I have recognized it in every person, then I know where to put it, to put the person, you know, what kind of tasks, what kind of part of the business, or recognize the new talents then. So for me, is absolutely asking the right questions, and it's not so easy. Because mostly we are asking the questions, the closed ones, with the answer yes or no, and this is the wrong way. You have to ask the open questions and then let your conversation partner to talk. And of course, based on that, learn to hear what the people are saying. So, and just closing it, based on the great answers here, it brings me to the point where when I recognized, or actually I completely disagreed with the saying, business is business. No, wrong. Business are people, exclamation mark.
Enter communication to the chat. Yeah. And this is a lovely conversation, but somehow we have almost eaten up the whole hour. So I'm going to speed it up and just ask the two dedicated questions to Philip and Hanno. For Philip, startup leadership versus corporate leadership, you have done and you're doing both. And according to your experience, what's the biggest shift leaders need to make when moving between those worlds?
Okay, one thing is definitely what we heard already. In a startup, you still have a lot of responsibilities that you normally don't have, like you do everything. Still, it doesn't matter if you have 20 people, 30, 50, whatever, you do a lot still on yourself. As a leader, especially in C-level, you do marketing, sales, leadership, everything at once. And this will never end, never. In a corporate, it's a bit different. First of all, you also need to distinguish between middle management and top management, different responsibilities. But people are different. You hire actually differently for a corporate or for a startup. In a startup, you hire really, really young talent, which is motivated so highly that the experience is not so important, but that they need to work 10 hours, 11 hours, and they let themselves be inspired by the idea this is the important thing for a startup.
And their adaptability and versatility, I guess.
Exactly. But from a young, motivated, talented guy, I can make an expert within months. Totally. From an expert, I cannot make a motivated guy out of that, if he is not by himself. In a corporate, it's different. It depends on the department, corporate, and so on. But there you need to hire sometimes these experts because you need them at the special positions. Still, what I learned over time is my top priority from hiring is always personal fit. This is top priority over everything. If you and your team cannot work together with this new guy, then it's a wrong hire. And there is often this nice saying of hire slow, fire fast. I do not agree 100% because it sounds nice, but firing fast is also not the right way to do often. People need time to develop themselves and be developed. They need time to find their position in the company. But we should not forget, one toxic person in the team destroys the entire team.
Definitely.
So let them go as fast as possible.
Thank you. And Hanno, closing, can you help us understand where traditional leadership models fail to keep up with the rapid growth, not just in iGaming, but in general, because we live in very fast and advanced times. So in tech and everywhere, what's an unconventional approach to leadership that today's leaders should be embracing?
Sure, loaded question, right? No pressure. I think the first thing that kind of like pull together everything that we've said in order to, get the talent that's really the right fit for your organization. You need to be super clear about your mission, vision, and your values so that the candidate can make the best decision, because a lot I hear as well, I also do recruitment projects on the side sometimes, and it's like, okay, bring me a guy from Google. It's like, okay, great, but your organization maybe doesn't support that Google guy, and maybe it's not the best business strategy for you to do that. But what I want to say is that traditional, I think, because we've taken leadership a lot of times like the nice to have, and I understand, like, even when we're talking today, we're talking about personalities, maybe a little bit emotions, everything else that comes into it, but it has actually a competency, and what we're actually using in copy, just so that you align, because leadership development and competency, the strategy lives in each place in your organization. It's when you recruit, then you know exactly who you're recruiting, because if you fail in recruitment, it's 20 to 30K per person. Are you willing to do that? I always ask that. Where, like, when you ask them 200 euros, they're like, no, I can't do this. But when they're like, oh, just fire and hire a new, it's like, okay, 30K. Do you want to do that? Then also in one-on-ones, also when you need to depart from somebody, that's also very crucial. Everybody's on the same page, and when you also need to give raises on position with the people that you have in your organization, yet again, clear vision, everybody's on the same page. And I'm just going to nerd out a little bit. What I really love, what we're using, and it's working like gold again, is the leadership competency model. And what we're doing there, it's not rocket science. Honestly, leadership is not rocket science. It's just doing, cultivating, and finding the time for it. As I said, urgent and important. But what we're doing in the competency model, in a really short version, is that we take the vision, mission, and values, and we tie it into competency on 4 quadrants. So we have leading self, which is kind of a relatively new term if we're talking about leadership, because it's always been like performance management, leading teams, leading org. So these are the 4 quadrants that we're using, and under each, you just agree with your whole organization what are the competencies to drive leading self, for example. I don't know. Is it the ability for empathy, compassion, performance management? Is it like fiscal something? Is it, I don't know, knowing Excel? What specifically is for your organization? And that creates the clarity, that creates that leadership development into also a strategy. And honestly, it works like gold. Sometimes also there are like situations like you go through that, oh, we've already talked about it, like, I don't know, smile and put the camera on. But it's important to go those through, write them down, define them, because, you know, we have, 5 people here, 6 people here, and so we can define like things in many, many different ways, but define it, put it in works, communicate about it, and it works like gold, I promise.
Thank you very much.
And your business profits are actually going up.
Yes, because even the fire fasting is costly, right? It's very costly. But one last thing, and I will need to get a couple of minutes out of all you people, because after that we have a very interesting panel about cybersecurity, which is very practical and on hands and very educative. But if you have any questions, let's take a couple of minutes if you want to address a question to our experts here. It seems, oh, please, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The $100 is in the mail. Thank you. Nothing's free.
I'm sorry, but Sarah, should we mention that the business is a very successful iGaming PR and marketing firm, which might be small, but is very credible and well established with trusted connections across the industry. And yes, it's a fact. Game on marketing, everyone.
In my opinion, stepping aside is, or when is the right timing, it is now, as soon as possible. Because what I experienced is the less I'm needed, the more ownership I give to my people, the more responsibility they take, and the better is the output. Which means if you have in your team already now people that you fully trust, where you see, normally this comes naturally in a group of people, someone sticks out a little bit as a leader, right? And if you have these people in your organization right now where you have this feeling, then you should start with this right now. As soon as you can pick yourself out, your head is free, you can focus on different other things. You're still there if strategic decisions are needed. And you're still there as the person who has the vision, but you are not the one anymore who is directly now guiding the people in daily business, because it's not needed. You have your leaders already in your company. So I would start today with it, if you ask me, and you can really trust your people.
I would ask the question, Sarah, at what level of your mental preparedness are you already to do it? This is the fundamental question. If you are ready, you can start. I agree with Stefan. If with Philip, sorry. If not, what do you need to be mentally prepared for that move? Yeah, exactly. Are you ready to cut it?
The baby or the cord?
The cord. Yeah, so for me, it's more than the matter of time, it's the matter of preparedness. Because when you are prepared, the moment is right. And then you will find the people and then delegate or appoint the right person. But when you are free in your mind, it's a completely different story afterwards, because now, in my opinion, it's necessary to think also what happens with you when you made the move, then the decision, when you took the decision. And this is not so obvious.
May I? it seems to me that when the idea has risen in your mind, it means that it's a time for wind of change. And the change is not always stepping aside. Maybe, as I shared my personal experience, you just need a coach session. That is the first action step I advise you to take. And then maybe there is a very nice instrument, tool, I don't know, whatever we can call it, advisory board. You can just establish this structure in-house and then just redefine your role in the company.
I found I had the same fear. I started this law firm. It was my baby. I did not want to let go. So when we started hiring high-level people, my mindset was, I got to find someone to replace me. And that never worked. Those were terrible hires. And then I realized, wait a second, I don't need someone to replace me. I need to hire someone that I can train to assist me. So don't hire for the job. This was my mental exercise. Don't hire for the job. Hire one level below the job, someone that I could train. And those turned out to be great hires because they ended up bringing skill sets and mindsets and values that I don't have, right? And that was sort of like a hybrid way for me to let go a little bit and allow me to do what I do well and allow people to do what they do better than me, right? So somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Thank you for the case study. A very good one, right?
By the way, of all the panels, you had the best question.
Super. Actually, you put the cherry on the cake. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you all so much for being here with us. Thank you to our wonderful experts for their insights. And I am very honored to have moderated you today. Thank you. I will have to lead you away, though, to... Yes, bye. Because...